Up next on Inside ChampCar, racing on one of America's iconic tracks. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I am Brian Bielanski, and he is
Bill Strong.
This week on the show, we look back at the races at Sebring. We take a quick little sneak preview at Nelson Ledges, the longest day coming up in 2 weeks. And our guest, sports racing icon, Bill Riley. That was fun.
Yes. Bill is a wealth of information. Told us how to find all the cheaty bits on all the cheaty cars.
No, he didn't.
Oh, wait. No, he didn't. I just made people sweat.
That's a different conversation. That was the after dark conversation of Inside ChampCar.
Inside ChampCar after dark.
That's right.
We have to put we have to put a lot of bass in our voice.
Next on Cinemax, ChampCar After Dark.
Oh my God, that would be so much fun.
Wouldn't that be hilarious? All right, so Sebring just got done. You're home.
Awesome race. Yes.
How was the weather?
Well, it was forever to drive down there.
Of course.
Forever.
It's forever to get to the Florida border, and then it's another forever beyond that.
Oh my God, it just doesn't end.
I know.
And then you get there and you're like, oh my God, I'm in heaven.
Yeah.
Sebring's my number one track. Sebring is a track that I've wanted to win a lot of races.
Yeah.
I've won one.
You've won one.
Sebring is the one that I want. And one day I will win it.
You know, in order to do that, you actually have to start driving again.
Yeah, well, we'll get there one day.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, Rotary Rocketeers. Little 1990 Mazda RX-7 took first place on Saturday. Level 1 Racing right behind him by a lap.
Yeah.
They finished second. Valerian Steele finished third. And Floridiots and their turbocharged sticking out of the hood Floridiot guys, they finished fourth. And then Clark Motorsports and their Miata finished fifth. What's really cool about this, a lot of Miatas were up front. You didn't really see, a lot of Mazdas were up front, not just the, Miatas, but an RX-7.
Right.
But one Porsche, normally at this track, it's SC300s or Infinities or the big bore cars. Not this weekend, because I still don't understand how a Rotary Rocketeer has a bore.
Right.
Yeah, we tried to do a bore scope on it, and
it don't work.
No, the stroke test, and it just didn't work. It just kept breaking the stick, and I don't get it.
It's a rotary, Bill.
Yeah, they kept telling me that.
I bet you Bill Riley could explain to you why that's not working. It's just going to cost you a whiskey.
And then Saturday, we were supposed to get some rain. We got a little sprinkles. It got my eyeglasses wet and kind of freaked me out with my new wireless setup. I didn't want to get it wet, so
it's pretty tough.
But it just sprinkled.
Yeah.
And it was really good. And then Sunday morning, our Krispy Kreme guys showed up with boxes of donuts, and I knew the day was going to be really, really good. Normally, by the time I get the donuts in the studio, they're already pretty much gone. But he handed me a box, and then I got to the studio, and I was the only one in the studio
with a whole box of Krispy Kremes.
Whole box of Krispy Kremes. And then David came up there. Luckily, there was one left, so I gave him one.
Bill's pretty crazy without being jacked up on sugar. I don't know if I want to see Bill jacked up on sugar.
It was it was good, and coffee.
Oh yeah.
And then Sunday morning, I'm doing well. We get David Haynes up in the studio with me, and it was a good race. Sunny, not as much wind as the day before, and Valerian Steele. They got into an incident on Saturday which pulled them out of the win, and Sunday they were able to pull it back, and with their little Mazda, their British Racing Green Mazda Miata, took the overall win, won it by 2 laps over Level 1 Motorsport or Level 1 Racing and their Miata. Floridiots finished third. Marathon Motorsports at TLM, they finished fourth overall. Now Saturday, David Twatty came in to pit lane right towards the end of the race with a gearbox issue, and it was really whining a lot. And they had to get it they had to go into the gearbox or underneath the car to do something to it, and they got it into the gear it needed to be in, and basically it just went around the track, I think in third or fourth gear. But when he came down that front straightaway, it was squealing like you would not believe. It drowned out everything at that track. But he was able to on Saturday secure the C-Class win, and then on Sunday did it again. Did he win C? I think he won C-Class with the but in fourth overall with that TLM Marathon Motorsports BMW 330. And then fifth place was the Fing Dog Racing's Porsche Boxster. And I thought the Boxsters would do a lot better, but not so. They finished fifth. And but the fastest time of the day Sunday was a 2:32 by the Six Bangers 2004 BMW.
Right.
Fun race, man. Everybody did their thing, and everybody stayed safe. We did have a fire, one red flag that was put out fairly quickly. We may have had a little fire on Saturday as well. That was, but I think it was more rubber in the wheel when the car stopped. As the safety guys walked up to the car, there was a little fire coming out of the wheel, so they quickly extinguished that. But we didn't have the red flag for that one. But yeah, that fuel thing, they basically the fuel line melted. And fuel was just going all over the place, and they like sucked itself out or something. Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, there was some other stuff that happened. I don't know the whole story because Ray was telling me, but I was driving in traffic, and so I'm kind of focused on my job at hand, which is driving. But I kind of remember some of it. So, but yeah, that happened. But yeah, it was a good race overall. Facilities are awesome. Track is great. Weather was hot, humid, and hot again. Of course, the after parties at Sebring are epic, at the 7 Hotel. But it was great. It was a fun weekend.
Cool. And we're
going back again. Yeah, we're going back again in December too. So
that's pretty cool. Pretty awesome. So you were able to talk with the winners in Victory Lane. Let's take a minute and listen to those. Listen to people. I just got done driving 2,000 miles over the last couple of days.
This was done live on our new live thing, so there might be a couple little hiccups in it, but it's there.
It's there. We're going to listen to that, and we will have a tech tip on the other side. We'll do that next.
All right, down here with the driver of the Rotary Rocketeers. What's your name, man?
Mike Lowe.
Mike, pretty epic finish there. You guys took this RX-7 up to the win here. 7 hours at Sebring. You look pretty wore out, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty wasted. I drove twice today, so yeah. This pretty hammered. And then we had a wheel bearing going bad at the end. Yeah, wheel bearing going bad. So I had to baby it the last 4 or 5 laps on the left-hand turns. I mean, something's real bad on the right-hand side.
Yeah, you can see rubber showing up on the fender.
I could hear the wheel squealing in turn 1. I'm like, that ain't right. So it was changing the alignment while we were driving. But yeah, the car was freaking awesome today. Jeez. Yeah, it couldn't be better.
So that heat that played a major effect on your stints.
Looks like it. Yeah, at least we got a cool suit, so we're staying sane. But yeah, it's hard on the car and this heat. Everything's at its limit. Especially the faster you go, the more load you put on everything. So yeah, those wheel bearings take a beating.
Now the Falcon Azenas worked well in this heat.
Yes, they did. Yeah, they worked really well in this heat. I was impressed.
Who drove today for you guys?
I did first stint, and then my son Jeremy did the second stint. And then Kevin, normally our fuel guy, did the third stint, and then I finished it up. We thought it was going to rain, so we figured somebody would lose a stint today, but no rain in Sebring for once.
I know that really helped you out a lot, actually.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind a cool shower.
Yeah, you're in the convertible wanting a shower.
Yeah, well, it's not bad. But my son is a ex-pro drifter, so he's really good in the rain. We always put him in the rain. He's usually the fastest car on the track in the rain, so it's pretty cool. He set turned at 233 today, which was crazy fast. I'm like, wow, slow down. You're going to hurt something.
All right, guys, congratulations winning here. This 7 hours at Sebring. Let's go find the second place car. 'Cause they've had to go out and get Twatty's car because it was
Didn't make it.
no, it didn't make it.
412, Bill, level 1.
Okay, then we got lightning 7 miles out. We got lightning 7 miles out. Hey, so tell me, man, pretty awesome race.
I know, Bill, listen, we started pretty much dead last from the draw, and we steadily moved our way up. And essentially, it's basically the way it is with most of all these races. You prepare and you run your race. You stay consistent. Try not to hit anything. Try not to get black flagged. And it does come to you if you do everything right. And it fell our way today. And unfortunately for Valerian, they're friends of ours. They had a black flag for an incident, and it handed us back in a lap for that. And we ended up second overall and winning the class. So it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Bill.
All right, 988 Valerian Steele. Where are you guys at?
Thank you. We all did. We had a few obstacles overcome along the way, but when it came time, we put it all together and got it done out here today.
There's like nothing in this car. There's like no weight missing. Is that why you guys are so fast?
That may be a lot of preparation from our team, from Ron Motorsports and Ken Montavani Racing. They do a good job on it all, and our Hankook tires really do a good job. But we got a real good driver lineup. We're very consistent all the way from start to finish. Front to back, silver, gold, and bronze drivers, and silver.
So you guys can, with no issues tomorrow, you should be able to take control of this race.
Well, we're certainly going to try it. We're going to get it back to the trailer, look and see what we can do to get it ready for tomorrow, and talk about what we could do better, have done better today, and make it and try to make it happen.
So let's do a quick talk with the Mustang guys here that won EC.
Yeah, backwoods racing.
Pretty cool shot. They I think they slowed down or sped up to catch the leading class car. But, man, that was a pretty epic drive out there for you guys.
That was an awesome day. Yeah, when I caught Valerian Steele there, I figured, well, they're second place. I'm just going to follow them around for an hour. And I'm friends with Chris, who did the finishing stint with them. So we're waving at each other. We're helping each other through traffic. Just keep it clean for the last 2 hours. So it was a good day.
You didn't bump draft him, say hi to him, or anything cool like that?
Maybe after checker.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known Chris a long time. Yeah, he was getting that for sure after checker. So
who are your drivers this weekend?
I got John Keepman here, Jason Carlisle, and Trent Carlisle, and Henry Gilbert, who was with us yesterday but not here today. So this man this morning put us in a place that it just made the rest of our job easy.
Tell us a little about the car, because it's sort of a bastard car.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, where it says Chevy on the roof, some kid put that on the roof many, many years ago, and, well, lo and behold, we put a Chevy engine in it. So that's and
it's a Ford Mustang.
It is a Ford Mustang, 1995 Ford Mustang with a 2010 Z28 engine. So
you did what should have been done at the factory, right?
That's what most people say. Leonard over there won't be too happy with it. He wasn't happy when the kid wrote Chevy on the roof, but he was a little kid with cancer, so he could do what everyone. But now, really long time with this car, a lot of races, a couple should-have, could-haves, and didn't happen. So today we finally put it together.
All right, yeah, I know you guys have been trying for a long time, and it's good to see you guys up there in first place in EC, man.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, congrats. All right, we're trying to get the winners of the event over here. First place, Valerian Steele. Good win, guys.
Oh, my God. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. And finally, we got the win. And we've had second place overall, and we've had a lot of first in classes. But, oh, my gosh, there's no, finally to get a win. Feels so good.
Not only a win, but a win at Sebring, dude.
Well, and this is our home track, and we've never had a win here overall. So, yeah, I mean, I can't explain. It just feels fantastic.
It's going to be awesome seeing that trophy sitting on the wall.
100%.
So what do you think, man?
Wow, the whole weekend there was a lot of drama and a lot of fun, but it all came together. I woke up this morning and I had a really good feeling, and I said, this is our day, and everything fell into place. Couldn't have been better.
So you felt like a winner this morning.
Absolutely. It was meant to be.
All right, guys, congratulations. Is that your first win?
Yeah, first win overall.
So first win overall. And at Sebring of all tracks, your home track, and congratulations, Valerian Steele, first win at Sebring.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good job. Sounded good, Bill. Love the new sound from the from pit lane with the new wireless gear.
And I'd like to thank you, Brian. That was
I don't know what you're talking about.
that stuff worked great. You helped me out get a solution that sent me back on pit lane. Though I would have really enjoyed it better at a track that was a little more less hot.
Well, I can't help you with that. I can work miracles, but only so much. So
I think it's going to work pretty good at a lot of these tracks you go to. I've actually spent today researching, and I found some modifications that we can make to the little boxes and the wireless stuff with adding different antennas and
we've
doing
talked about
things.
that.
So I think it's going to be fun.
Great.
It's I kind of enjoy this side of it, the tech side of this stuff, which I haven't done in quite a while.
There you go. So we got a tech tip, right?
I believe so. Flagtronics.
And
wait, we got to play music.
I know. You jumped the gun, Bill. Okay, now what's the tech tip again?
Okay, today's tech tip is Flagtronics. And we all know Flagtronics because we're all using it now. We've all been using it since about February or earlier. But pretty much since June 1, it has been required.
Yep.
You can buy it from flagtronics.com. Just go head over there and just get the kit. Includes everything you need, which is the unit, the cables to plug it in. You can either hotwire it to a car, comes with a battery so that when you shut the car off at your fuel stop, it keeps the timer running. So don't cut that battery off. That's really important. We've seen people cut the battery off thinking they're going to save a few pounds. It doesn't weigh that much, but it's needed. Or you can use just a regular USB port. And I run mine on a USB port I have plugged into my computer and during the race up in the tower. So I can see the flag status for the whole track. But mount it so your drivers can see it. Don't mount it to the right. Don't mount it to the left. Mount it right in front of their face. Now, these things do have automatic dimming on them. Then the brand spanking new ones have two light sensors, one on the front, one on the back.
Nice.
And that actually helps it to not be so bright.
Right. Well, that's what I was asking when we were trying to figure out what to do for the tech tip. I said, with that bright thing, to have it bright enough for you to see it at noon and then not blind you at midnight at Nelson during a 24-hour race, how does it do that? And you said, oh, no, it's got a thing. And it's got a couple of photovoltaic cells, and and that's how I'm guessing that's what they're using, or something similar.
You can make words up. I don't care.
I'm guessing it's the similar technology that what puts my yard lights that come up at the dark and go off at night.
Yes.
And I believe now if it's wrong, I'm going to be sounding like a complete idiot. But I believe that's called a photovoltaic cell.
Yeah. Okay. There's different ways of mounting it. They've got if you go to their webpage and you add the you select the in-car package. You just pick ChampCar, select the in-car package. You can get different mounts for it, roll cage, suction cups. Don't really recommend the suction cup for our type of racing because you don't want that thing falling off at midnight.
No.
Ft200 adapter plates that look like a GoPro mount. But I think one of the most important things to get is that Ft200 Visor. It's a little visor that goes over the front of it. And what happens is you're going to put it on your dash, and at night, it's going to reflect onto your windscreen. And that visor will actually not only keep the sunlight from hitting it, but it actually keep the reflections off your windscreen during night racing. And that was always something I worked, because we did a lot of night racing with our MR2s. And, it had one of those, really steeply raked windshields. So any light source would just light up the windscreen. So one of the things that I really worked hard on was getting rid of all that. Did I ever get it perfect? No, but we came close, painted everything black in there as we could, and just kept reflections down as much as we could, because that distraction can really hurt you, especially at tracks like VIR, which is so dark, and Nelson Ledges.
Exactly.
So,
exactly.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought about that. Great tips. Good tips, Bill. Considering 30 seconds ago we didn't have a tech tip to talk about.
No, we didn't. No.
Yeah, it's all right. it's good stuff. Good stuff. Anything else we should know before we head out?
Just listen to Bill Riley. That's
Yeah.
a good talk. We had a good talk with him.
That's coming up next, right after this short break. We're going to have Bill Riley from Imsa, American Le Mans, IndyCar fame, also ChampCar racer. He's with us next on Inside ChampCar. Don't go away.
Every race weekend, you don't know what's going to happen. But with ChampCar.live, all the action comes right into your living room. The ChampCar Endurance Series is North America's home to real competitive endurance road racing. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car, trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. And ChampCar.live brings you live, full race coverage with in-car and trackside cameras, interviews, and expert commentary. Check out ChampCar.live on the web, subscribe, and ring the bell so as not to miss a single minute of the action. It's fun, free, informative, and it's just a click away. ChampCar.live. Come check us out. We bring you a front row seat, but you'll only need the edge.
Welcome back to Inside ChampCar. Brian Bielanski along with my big buddy Bill Strong. And joining us now, the other Bill. I said the Bill. Fast Bill versus Slow Bill. Bill Riley is with us. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show. We've been talking about having you on for a very long time. And
good to be on.
I'm glad that you've been able to find a few minutes to stay with us and join us, and I appreciate that. For those of you who don't know, this is Bill Riley of Riley Engineering, Riley Motors. What's the official title of the big Rileys team?
Well, the big company is Riley Technologies.
That's right. Okay.
And underneath that is Riley Motorsports.
Got it. Bill is a longtime icon of the IMSA sports car. You did American Le Mans Series too, right? All that kind of stuff?
Yep. American Le Mans, IMSA, then American Le Mans and Grand Am, and now we're all back to IMSA.
Back to IMSA. And you come and play with us in the ChampCar Endurance Series, which we love.
Whenever I can.
So, Bill, you come from a line of racers or race car designers, engineers. Your father did this, Bob, right?
Yep. My father's, I think he started racing in 1949, and he's still at it today. He's 91. Wow. And his career is pretty epic in racing. So it's kind of, I was born into it, and I always knew this is what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Now, is this the same company as like Riley and Scott and all those famous names?
Yeah, I mean, it's evolved into that. It's a different company, of course, legal stuff, but it was Riley and Scott for 10 years or so. So built a lot of different stuff.
So you said Bob's still active. What's Bob doing these days?
Well, we're just actually finishing up a new Trans Am car, a TA1 car. So he's been working pretty hard on that. And then we're doing continuations of the Ford Mark IV, the 1967 Le Mans winning car. And he's pretty active in that also because he, was there at CarCraft, and some of the drawings we have of that project, have his name on them.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I think it was right before COVID really came on strong. I took a tour. You took me on a tour of your factory there in Mooresville, and took me upstairs, and there's your dad at a drafting table with a pen or pencil and a T-square, just drawing away bearings and stuff. And I was just like, wow, he's no computer CAD stuff. He's still doing it old school.
Yeah. So he still does it old school. Then we have a couple of pretty strong designers that convert it into CAD, or obviously add to it, right. And that's kind of how we do things still.
So your dad was one of the guys that kind of changed racing with a lot more aerodynamics. The Ford Probe was it you guys were involved with?
He was involved in the Mustang GTP.
Oh, Mustang, that was it, GTP.
Yeah. So a lot of he was kind of at the cutting edge of the ground effects era in the 70s with IndyCar. Because obviously he worked with Foyt quite a bit in the 70s. And with Gordon Johncock, in the 70s, so kind of some iconic guys, and he worked a lot of NASCAR also, with the Elliots and with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Davey Allison. So we kind of were pretty fortunate when I was coming on board. in the mid '80s, we were working with some pretty iconic teams and individuals. So it's pretty good deal.
So your family is one of the few families in this motorsports world who have had success, not just participation, but success in NASCAR, IndyCar, Imsa, all its sports card iterations, and everything you guys have touched. Maybe not has turned to gold, but you've been successful in all of those things. What do you contribute that to?
Boy, that's I think it's being around good people, having people being everybody from from the guy doing the smallest jobs all the way up to the drivers. I think we've just been fortunate to be around good people that can, that we can contribute to their success.
Yeah, and I would also suggest that putting fast race cars on the track over and over and over again makes people want to come and spend money with you.
Yeah. I mean, obviously we've had some cars that didn't make it, cars that weren't good, and then we had some cars that were super successful. So you kind of hopefully have more good ones than bad ones, and we're fortunate enough to be on a good level of the meter.
This actually brings up a great question. The ones that weren't successful, how do you brush that off, or do you learn something from it and move on, that kind of thing?
Oh, well, a lot of times you learn, what not to do on a car, mechanically, and then you also, some of them aren't successful because the deal isn't successful that you do around the car. So then you learn not to do deals like that, or pick up what you can learn and keep moving on.
What's a
So
deal?
it's there's usually two reasons why there's a car that doesn't work. It's mechanical issues, mechanical or aero issues, and then it's being around the wrong group, wrong people.
Okay,
cool.
So how did you get involved with the racing side of it? With the design side, was it just a given that you were going to do it with your dad, or did you want to go on and do something else? Or
no, no. I started cleaning wheels. The funny story I tell people get into racing is my first year of motorsports, I cleaned wheels, and then the second year of my motorsports career, I cleaned wheels again, so I cleaned wheels for 2 years.
Was that because you weren't good at it the first year?
No, it's the same wheels. Okay. They got dirty again.
Okay.
And it's funny enough, my mom was friends with the team manager at the time. I mean, they were all friends, of course, and told the team manager to try to get me out of motorsports. And I cleaned, when I was 16, they made me clean everything. They actually one time made me clean the bottom of the semi, like underneath the semi, clean the bottom of the semi. That's how much they wanted. She was trying to get me out, and it didn't work. It just didn't work.
That's funny.
Yeah.
My first time at the racetrack with my dad, I put 6 quarts of red line onto the grass underneath the race car because I forgot to put the oil plug back in. And
exactly.
Dad didn't kick me out, so 37 years later, I'm still here. Now I'm talking with you. So
exactly. The other part about the good cars and the bad cars is, you have to be able to learn from your mistakes quite a bit too, and remember that. So that's another thing that you learn, from the bad cars.
So how much, you've seen lots of changes over the years. So from the 70s to today, what's the one thing that you could say that you wish hadn't changed, and then the one thing that you're happy has changed over the years?
I was a kid in the 70s, and I kind of miss, and I was mostly because my father's work was mostly involved around Indy cars, and I miss the Indy cars looking different. I miss the different sounds of the different engines, and then you also miss about how heroic a lot of those guys were and how hard all the crew guys worked. Not that crew guys don't work hard now, but it was like a different thing back then. It was a passion, or it was such a life. But I think the thing that's the best right now is how much safer everything is,
right,
car wise. We had a huge wreck a couple of days ago at Motorsports with our LMP3 car, and the driver, Scott Andrews, he didn't get knocked out, he didn't have any issues, he just unstrapped. And if you guys watch the tape of that wreck, it was about maybe about an hour to go, we had that wreck. It was a hard hit, and he just walked away.
160 miles an hour, he's going down that back straight.
Yeah,
somewhere?
yeah, it was a hard hit, and he just walked away, and and there we are. We had to go to the medical center to get him, and he was just well as normal as Scott Andrews is how he was, and this is normal self.
Well, I
So
watched the medical guys standing around him, and they're trying to direct him. He's like more concerned about the car.
I think he was more concerned about coming back and seeing us. I think is what he was concerned about. but it's all good. I mean, the cars to me are just tools to go quick, and I don't really get too emotionally attached to the cars. I get upset because we're out of a race, but I don't get upset that a driver, wrecked the car very much.
That was going to be my question. It's like, because you have that wreck and you're trying, I think you're in third for the championship. Something like that happens. I mean, how that drive back has got to be the worst, because I know, like with us, and we're the lowest of the low level, and it's still a hard drive back.
Yeah. It was, you kind of walk from the pit lane back to the truck, and you think, okay, the championship's over, and now we just have to concentrate on winning Road America and winning Road Atlanta. That's our next two rounds, and you have to concentrate on ending the season with wins. We already have 2 wins this year, which is successful, but we need to just have wins going forward. So you just think about that and kind of get redirected, and off you go.
So a bunch of years ago, you got into this thing called ChampCar.
Yeah.
You and your team. How did you find out about this, and how did you what made you build a probe?
Well, I have a long time. I've always done ChampCar with Tyler Hook, who's a longtime friend and engineer for us, and he engineers the 74 car. So him and I have worked together for a long time, and are good friends, real good friends. And he wanted to get involved in it, and unfortunately, I didn't have work for him at the time, so he was laid off. And he wanted to get into it, and I said, "Well, I'll pay for it if you build it," type of thing. And we were going to build an Acura, an Integra, and he went and found this probe and said, "No, let's do this Probe GT with a V6 in it," and off we went. We're running this Probe GT, and it was a lot of fun. And the car, we still have the car, and it still runs, and it's still real fun to drive. We took it to VIR maybe 2 years ago just to drive it, and had a great time just driving it. It's not competitive. It's a C-class car. It's not competitive, by today's standards, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I have one of those. The now you then went on to be on the board of directors, and as I used to call you, Mr. No, which I hated, because every time we wanted to try and do something, no, come on, no.
I know. I say no a lot more than I say no a lot. I said no a lot more than the board does now. I'll tell you that. I can say that I said no a lot.
Why?
Especially to you.
Yes, you did.
That's why, Bill.
Well, because I think I love the sport and the rules and how it was going, and you didn't really want to see any changes. To potentially upset the apple cart. You didn't want to see any big changes, because there were a lot of cars out there, a lot of people enjoying the weekends, and at the time, some tracks weren't full because of locations or the venue, but a lot of them were. So it's like, why do we make any big changes? Because this is a success. And we had the same problem you have now. You have a lot of people, saying how bad it is, but they never go to a race. So we had the same problems 10 years ago, or whatever it was, 8 years ago.
So, you make your living racing cars. You've done this for decades. And on your days off, you choose to go racing cars with ChampCar.
Yeah. Right.
Is it just part of the blood? It's in the DNA? Because I know a lot of people, when they leave their day job, whatever it is, and on their weekends, the last thing they want to do is do their day job on the weekends.
No, I mean, I have a good group of people who go ChampCar racing with Tyler Hook, like I mentioned, and Jim Matthews, who kind of is the car owner. And we have a good time, and we bring in a couple other friends to drive. We bring in some good crew guys, and we really just have a good time. And it's kind of, to me, I don't hunt or fish or bowl or have any other super big hobbies. So it's kind of what I do,
So
I thought you were a traveler. I saw you traveling all over the United States in a Viper one time.
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah, me and Mark Miller did a trip across country in a Viper to see how fast we could do it. it was pretty fast, but it was a good trip. It was a good trip.
Are you sure that's something we want to talk about?
Yeah, it was a good trip.
Well, that and the cutout of Bill Riley. Where in the world is?
Oh
Bill
yeah. Dinner with Racers had me all over the place.
That's fun. That's fun. So when you show up at a Champ Car race, Riley and the Riley team, and a lot of the folks like me are there who don't have the expertise or the knowledge or the background. What do you say to folks when they say to you, "Why do you come and do this and race up against us?"
Well, I never really, when I was younger, I never really drove because I was too busy, designing cars or working on them or managing teams and all that. So I never really drove. I raced go-karts for a while. And then when this came along, it was just a good team sport and I just enjoy the driving part of it. I enjoy the level of the driving and who I'm around and I just enjoy the sport, and unfortunately, we've grown to level our team where we bring a lot of spare parts and a lot of equipment and now we, then therefore we bring one of the big trucks and that's kind of not necessarily in the spirit of it all, but it's just we don't have room to fit all the stuff in, and funny enough, the big trucks are typically cheaper to operate than a dually and a gooseneck.
you're also out there helping guys figure out their issues too. I mean, it's not like
I'll help anyone in the paddock for a drink, for a beer. A beer or whiskey. I'll help anybody in the paddock.
And he does.
Yeah, that's great. I always loved it when a pro team or a pro driver was racing in something I was racing in because it allowed me to measure myself, and it showed me how bad I was, which is fine.
Oh, we don't let any pro drivers in the Corvette. I tell you that much. We don't. There's actually a driver coach, a very good one named James Goy, who races in ChampCar from time to time, and he's a very good coach, professional coach, and I actually pay him not to talk about my driving on the weekends because I don't want to know. I don't want to know what I'm doing wrong and how wrong I'm doing it. I really don't want to know. So, yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. And because, people don't think about the fact that someone like you hasn't really driven a lot, and this is fun for you.
Yeah, I mean, I just haven't driven, I've driven a lot of go-kart stuff and, then obviously with the ChampCar stuff and some vintage stuff, but I'd never consider myself a driver, but you go to a ChampCar race and here you are racing along, and get to enjoy and being racing at those tracks, at all the great tracks that ChampCar goes to, they that kind of helps me engineer cars better. For example, I remember being at Road Atlanta with a car, and the driver saying, it was Mark Goosens saying, I got to hit that curb in turn 3 to get a good lap time. I mean, you're like, no, you don't. Drive around it. It's not going to last for 10 hours if you keep hitting that curb like that. Then you go race ChampCar there, and you're like, yeah, I got to hit that curb. Then you realize the next car you do or the next time you go there to engineer, you got to make sure that car can hit the curb every lap, to get the lap time.
I never thought that would make you a better engineer. That's a great idea. That's a great thought process. Yeah. For
sure. You get to know, I mean, not that I'm great at it, but you get to know what curbs you have to hit and what you don't have to hit. I don't ever coach a driver on what to do, at Watkins Glen or Road Atlanta or anywhere. But I'm just saying, in your head what you need to have the car do.
Right.
Like you go to Road America, and it's obvious you got to make the car go through the carousel fast because that leads onto the back straightaway. So, but when you're driving it, you're like, man, I really need this car to do this so I can stay in it full to go down the back straightaway.
I remember when I was with you guys at VIR, over the team intercom, one of the drivers had said something, the car was doing something a little different. And your engineer and one of the guys said, remember at the 24 when the car would do this through there, and you guys were like comparing notes and you could understand what the car was doing at that bump or what he was hitting.
Yep, exactly. The engineer at that time was Tyler Hook. Same one that's that I raced ChampCar with. That does all the work, to be honest.
Yeah.
What's more satisfying, winning on the pit box at an Imsa race or winning a ChampCar race for you when you've been with your team driving?
I think winning in Imsa is more satisfying. more so because that helps the business.
Hmm.
That's more of a work thing. It's more satisfying. How many people put work into this winning and how much I enjoy the clients and their winning. So I think winning an IMSA, if I had to trade one for one, like Road America win in ChampCar or Road America win in IMSA, I'm going to have to pick the IMSA one.
Now, you had probably one of the highest highs and the lowest lows at Le Mans. I mean,
Yes.
how bad was that?
This year or 3 years ago?
2 years, yeah, three. This year was actually pretty good. I mean, it was,
Yeah,
you got
yeah, this
last
year was
minute,
okay.
You did good.
Oh, 19. That was my worst day of motorsports without it. Well, without anyone getting hurt, of course. But that was it was just a horrible day for me, or for the whole team. It was really bad. I mean, we understood it a little bit, but it was just really bad. I can't describe how gut wrenching that was to have that one pulled away, because that's the goal, or my goal is to win that race. And to have that one pulled away, it was really tough. Really tough to take.
That must.
But then the next day you wake up, and you're like, what, I got to come back here. The next day Tuesday, we won on Sunday, got pulled on Monday night at midnight, and then we Tuesday, on the plane ride, I'm like, I got to get back to Le Mans. So you kind of brush it off, and you got to get back and go from there.
So do you think with you that you did well with Ferrari? Do you think they're going to give you a little more oomph?
Ferrari helping us, or Le Mans?
At Le Mans.
The Ferrari deal was good. They're a great partner. We run a team for them in Ferrari Challenge. I don't know how much further that will go with Ferrari. We were a customer team, and I'm not too sure how that'll go. It's tough to race against AF Corsa.
Right.
AF, stands for Amato Ferrari, so it's kind of hard to race against them with Ferrari. So we'll just see what happens in the future. But I think we had a pretty good showing for Ferrari, and definitely professionalism and everything else with them.
Good.
For sure.
When you have a rough day like you did at 19, isn't that part of the amazing part of our sport, is that if you have a day like that, the next day you're like, okay, we can come back and try it again?
Yeah, I mean, I was like that for sure. Some of my crew members were not, to say the least. Some of them, when I asked to come back this year, gave me a fairly clear and defined no, so that they would not go back with me. But just because of what happened to us in 19. But yeah, I mean, I was pretty clear on wanting to go back. It was that's a great part of the sport. Then you go back and this year and you feel welcomed again, and you brush it off, and you're like, well, let's see how we can go here.
And you've worked with some really good drivers over the year. Tommy Kendall, Ben Keating, who's doing really well now.
Yeah.
And Gar Robinson.
Right. Yeah. I've been lucky to work with really good drivers. And I've worked with, kind of like 4 eras of pro drivers. I worked with Max Angelelli in 2000s, early 2000s, and Mark Goosens in the mid 2000s. Your own Bleekermullen, recently, and then now with Felipe Fraga. Yep. So I'm pretty lucky to be working with those 4 guys, especially when you're building new cars and you're developing things. And they really are outstanding. They're outstanding people, and then on top of that, they're outstanding in the car. And they, every now and then, you see a driver and you see them in a paddock, and they don't really ever do anything that astounds you. But those 4 guys and a lot of others I've worked with, of course, they do things and you're like, whoa, I don't know if I could ever do. I don't know who else could have pulled that one off, or think that fast, or have hands that fast, to catch it, or to, take a pass that's a bit challenging. But those 4 guys kind of stand out right now.
So do you look at or look for a particular trait? Because when I think of those 4 drivers, personalities are a little different for all of them. The way they drive a car is all a little bit. They all bring the car home. I guess that's one great trait. But the way they drive is a little different. Their personalities are different. What makes you choose a driver when you're looking for a new driver like that?
I think some part it's like what their feedback is like, and how they are as a person, and how they get along with teammates. I mean, typically in sports car racing, you're racing with a teammate that's bringing budget and how they interact with that person. Like your own Bleekemolen, interacted very well with Ben Keating, and they were friends, and they are friends. Just didn't help them along so much. And Fraga does the same thing with Gar Robinson, and just how much they help each other. And Goosens did it with Jim Matthews, who's, we raced the Corvette with. And then Max Angelelli, worked real well with Wayne Taylor.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know Ben pretty well, and he's an easy guy to get along with, thankfully, right?
yeah, he can be pretty hardcore at times, but we're really good. We're good friends, and anytime that someone says, "Hey, if you want a chance to work with Ben again," I would jump at that for sure.
So you'll be racing against him at the VIR 24 coming up here in a few
No,
weeks.
he'll be racing at the same track as we are. yeah, the gloves will come off against Ben Keating at VIR, and he knows that, and I know that, and off it goes, But yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we'll be keeping a close eye out for side to side calls.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll hit each other, but there's gonna be a lot of side bets going on. There's gonna be a lot of gambling going on between us, our team, and Ben's team for sure.
So
lots of side bets.
He has a Corvette, and Ben has the Acura.
Yeah,
they're the big Acuras or something or another.
No, it's an Integra.
Integra. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
they're
Integra.
yellow. They're bright
yep,
yellow.
They're yellow.
And because they're yellow, I have to root for Ben Keating. So.
Gotcha. Well, I got yellow stripes.
You do. Yeah. So
you can root for Ben Keating. I wouldn't bet for Ben Keating over our car. Okay. I'm not saying we're going to win. But we're going to beat Ben Keating. I know that much.
All right. So a theoretical question here.
Oh, gosh.
If you had an Opel GT, what would you do with it?
Throw it in the trash.
Well, I think the problem you have with the Opel GT is the power's too low to start with, to do a swap. They're they're cool little cars, but man, I'd have to go through because the point value is pretty low, right?
Yeah, 75 points. So we can put it up to 150 horsepower engine or 165 horsepower engine with aero, because you have to have aero on that back because it has all that lift. It's like 130 pounds of lift at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I'd probably do a swap for a low-powered EcoBoost.
Would you paint it black?
Something turbocharged.
Would you paint it black and yellow?
I'd paint it yellow and black.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I do it the opposite. Yeah. So the little Corvette,
asking for a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Are the transmissions any good in them?
It's a 4-speed.
Okay. Is it strong?
Yeah.
That's a no.
It's like this big. I think it's the size of a ruler. So yeah.
Can you pick it up with one hand?
Yes.
Oh yeah, then no, it's not that.
By the shift ball.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's probably not good enough.
No, we're actually putting a 1600 Miata engine into it with a 5.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
there you go.
The drive shaft's going to be like this long, about I think 220 millimeters.
Would you have an extra 100 points to turbocharge that?
Well, I think so. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah,
I think that would be pretty good. What's the weight going to come in at?
2100 without driver. So
2100.
Yeah, because it's cage and 15-gallon cell and a few other things. That's full of liquid, so it could probably be low. Yeah,
that's full of fuel.
Yeah, full of fuel and everything. So 15.
Full of fuel, 2100. Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
He's going to charge you for this consultation, Bill.
I know that.
It'll be buy me a drink.
I was going to say it'll be a nice bottle of whiskey.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
it doesn't have to be nice, just so we're clear. It doesn't have to be nice.
He's a cheap
doesn't have to be
date.
a high quality beer either.
He's a cheap date.
He's not choosy.
Anyway, so what's next up for? Let's start with your pro teams. What's up next for you guys?
Well, to show you my schedule coming up for the next 2 weeks, I have to go to Indianapolis for Ferrari Challenge. During that weekend, I have to go to Lime Rock for a GT4 race. Then Monday after that, I have to go to Road America to test the AMG's SRO program on Monday, Tuesday. And then Wednesday, Thursday of that following week, I test the 74 and a GT4 car. And then on Thursday night, I have to fly to Watkins Glen for the SRO race. So that's kind of so that's like a 13-day trip coming up next week. So that.
I have to. I'm like, sounds like a great couple of weeks to me.
I actually have to.
Yeah.
So I actually have to. But yeah, so that's coming up. Then the next big race we have an SRO race at Watkins Glen. Then we have Road America with the LMP3 and the GT4 Toyotas.
Cool. What's up next for you guys? Is it VIR with the ChampCar team?
Yeah, we're going to do VIR, and then we're going to do we're signed up for Mid Ohio, and then Road America, and I think we're going to try to go to NOLA because none of us have ever driven at NOLA.
Do you use like if you guys haven't driven NOLA, will you take data from those tracks and use it on your pro side? You know,
I doubt it. I doubt it. It's so far off with the slick tire versus a DOT tire and the power levels and everything else. It's really far off. So yeah, maybe. I mean, the only thing we'd probably ever do is like, let's say if we went to like Ozarks and had in-car video and we wanted to show somebody in like a GT4 car where the speeds aren't too far off of each other, that would be the only time we'd really do that.
So why did you chicken out of Ozarks? Wait, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think I had too much going on. I don't think
you were doing Le Mans. It was Le Mans was going.
Yeah, we were going to. We had a test for the Le Mans car, and I think the other reason was, Jim Matthews, one of the drivers, got COVID pretty bad, and he wasn't 100% yet.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And he wasn't 100% at Daytona, so yeah, so we've been kind of fighting COVID issues, and but I think we're over all that, so we can start to race again. We've been doing some testing with the Corvette, and we have another test to do before VIR, and we should be good to go.
Is that where you take it to an airport and run it as fast as you can to see what it does?
No, we're just going to go down to Kershaw and run it around, and see check out a few things before we go off to a VIR.
So the rumored times are like 1:15s of that track. Is that right?
At Kershaw?
Kershaw.
I don't know. I haven't looked them up. I don't think that sounds pretty fast.
I'm just making stuff
just
up.
So you know, that sounds really fast. yeah, that's real fast. I mean, I think the LMP3 car did a 21 around there, so I don't think we can do a 15.
You never know.
Maybe the old Lemon short course.
Yeah, that's right. That was such a fun track. Did you run you ran the Lemons races there with us, right?
Yeah, with a probe.
Yeah, because we had like 200 cars on the short course, and it was like I-95 at rush hour around DC.
Yeah, it was like playing Frogger.
Yeah, oh my God.
They gave us 100 penalty laps. It was like, I don't think they like our faces. It was one of those kind of penalties back then.
Well, there were some other NASCAR guys there. They worked for certain shops, and some guy had like an MG or something, and the whole suspension was like double wishbone, this and that.
Yeah.
And I remember, what's his name? Johnny Lieberman asking, "Where do you work? What shop do you work in?" The guy goes, chassis suspension at Genasi or some big name like that. 200 points or 2,000 points.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah.
Yeah. The probe wasn't too far off of stock, and we were kind of baffled, but that's what they do. So
it was fun.
That's what they do. Yeah. We had a good time. So.
All right. Anything else before we head out, Bill, that you want to get from the master here?
Nah, Bill's pretty cool. I talk to him a lot, and he answers my questions and sends me on wild goose chases, but makes me learn, and I like that. And a good guy. Thanks, Bill.
I have a question for you, an open question to you, Bill. Is Flagtronics going to have the marching ants for people soon?
We're working on it.
Okay. That's what you said last time I asked.
Yeah, I know. They're actually, I'm working with the guy that's working on that, and he's doing some. I think it's the Porsche Cup.
Okay.
That's with Indy. Who does the Porsches run with Indy? USAC.
There's one series that runs with Imsa and one that runs with USAC.
Yeah,
I get them confused.
So he's working on that, and he's getting pretty close.
Okay.
I've seen a couple of things, and it's pretty cool.
So
I know.
are you talking about giving the teams the access to what we had at Willow?
Yes.
Okay.
That ultimately that something like that will come out. I don't know when because that's not my job. I get yelled at constantly. Flagtronics is not my job.
So,
Okay.
so for those who don't know what we're talking about, check out the broadcast that Bill and I did from Willow Springs a couple of weeks back. Because we didn't have video, we were able to use the Marching Ants feed as our video for that weekend, and it wasn't
good. Well, parts of it were really good.
It was but you could see the potential in it, and that was what I thought was really cool.
Yeah. I mean, we use that all the time, on the pro stuff. So it'd be great to have it just so you know where your car is.
Yeah. On track.
I think you run enough timing sectors to do it pretty well too.
Yeah. And there's all kinds of cool stuff. But yeah, right now we're just working on getting it to work for race control. And then once they get that working fine, then we start doing the additions. So that's a priority.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Riley?
I can give you a cartoon and you can just watch that.
What's that?
Bill's car.
Yeah. Well, I need to know where my car is and where Ben Keating's car is, and we can follow that around.
There you go.
Okay, now I'm going to have to watch VIR.
What's that?
Nothing.
Okay.
I didn't
all
say
right.
they're both in the paddock. I didn't say that.
Yeah. We'll probably be garage next to each other. We'll probably be pitted next to each other also. So, that way we don't have to go far to exchange the bets as they go back and forth.
So Bill, here's my challenge to you. You need to get a wireless mic on Bill and Ben for the entire race, and just dip into it from time to time.
Oh, I don't think we're going to do that. We're not going to do that. Yeah, we're definitely not going to do that.
That would
I'm on my weekend off, so I'm not, very correct. So
that would be
we're
good
not going to do
entertainment,
that.
though.
But I'll go around and talk to them throughout the race.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, Bill gives me great information. Always sending me off on wild goose chases that don't exist.
What are you talking about? What name one?
You tell how's the car? Oh, it's doing great. Here it comes down with 3 wheels.
We might not like to do it like that.
All right. Before we get into too much trouble here, Bill Riley, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, stick around. When we come back, we're going to talk about the longest day at Nelson Ledges, one of my favorite events in the entire world. That's next on Inside ChampCar.
Inside ChampCar is a podcast that takes a deep dive into all things going on with the ChampCar Endurance Series. Hosted by veteran journalist, radio host, and racer Brian Bielanski and ChampCar's very own Bill Strong, we talk to drivers, team bosses, tech gurus, and series supporters. Episodes air every week in time for you to listen on your way to the track. Inside ChampCar is on the Racing Wire Podcast Network, found on Apple, Spotify, Google, and most popular podcasting apps.
And we are back. This is Inside ChampCar. Bill Strong, Brian Bielanski. Just got done talking with Bill Riley. That was a whole lot of fun.
Bill's fun, man. He's a trip at the track. Fun to hang out with. Fun to watch do his job. Even when he's doing it I got to hang out with him at VIR during a pro race, during one of the Imsa races, and just so inviting and everybody likes Bill.
Yeah. It's great to see someone of his caliber of talent and knowledge being willing to pass that along to a different generation of drivers, right. For nothing more than, a cheap shot of whiskey or a cheap beer.
I mean, it's pretty awesome because he actually does help people.
That's
and
awesome.
He's offered to help ChampCar sort out some of its rules issues and help the board, help them take it to a certain way. And hopefully the board's taken that, taken some advice or at least listen to it. But yeah, good guy.
There you go. All right. So this weekend, coolest place, well, one of the coolest places on the planet, one of the coolest races being regenerated, rebooted, restarted. The longest day.
No.
No?
Not this weekend.
Oh, is it next weekend?
It's the 16th and 17th.
Oh, so you're off?
I
Are
get a
you
weekend
off this
off.
weekend?
Yes. Yeah. You scared me there for a moment. I had to look real quick.
Pardon my sorry for giving you a little heart attack.
Yes.
I've just misread the schedule then. So in 2 weeks, we'll do just a quickie preview, and then we'll do it a lot deeper next week then.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have Nelson Ledges the longest day of Nelson Ledges. Fred called me today and we were talking about some stuff. They're getting us some really fast internet for the event, so we'll be able to do some cool live stuff from the track.
Nice.
We are going to have myself, and you can join as well whenever you want to join. You know how to join us via the way we do it. And we probably have David Haynes joining us as well in the overnight, because when he's in Australia, it's daytime there.
Well, that's what we were talking about when we interviewed him last time. Maybe he and I can do a stint on the overnights a little bit while you guys sleep.
Yep. And so that'll be pretty awesome. And so, yeah, we have that coming up, and so we're going to have fast internet. They're ordering the lights tomorrow for it, so we can light up certain aspects of the track that are a little bit, dangerous. You kind of want to see the apex points, so they have these generators. I know. No, it's. I think most of it's if we lose a car out in the weeds, we can find them.
Hello.
Yeah,
Out there.
That's happened before. So Flagtronics is going to be a game changer with that too. We'll be able to see everybody on track and find out where they're at. I think we may even stick some Flagtronics stuff on the tow trucks to actually see if their tow truck drivers are as fast as the race car drivers.
Cool.
Which has always been a rumor.
All right, so you said 20 teams, right? We don't have to go through all of them. We'll do that next week.
Yeah, we just got about 20 teams showing up that race. And the real cool thing about that event is that chill out systems, that's that cool shirt system that doesn't use water. It's got a really cool setup, and a lot of guys are using it. It's like a $4,000 system, and they're giving away a system to the winner of the summer of 24s, which is your combined finish of the Nelson Ledges 24 and the VIR 24. So you have your combined finish of that, the lowest score wins. So if you win both races, you get 2 points.
So
if you finish second on VIR and win Nelson, you'll get 3. So
it is not too late to register for the race, right? Go to ChampCar.org for all the deets.
Yep, and we have a few teams. Visceral is entering 2 cars. Money Shift Racing will be there. Atlanta Speedworks will be there. Whitnauer Motorsports, those guys, that little Mini Cooper will be there, and it actually does pretty well.
Cool.
There's some other teams that I know will be there, so I know that we will be over 20 entries at the Nelson 24.
Cool.
And then the VIR 24 is getting up there. That's some big numbers.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that one's currently at about 61 entries.
61 entries for a 24-hour race.
Yeah,
that's
pretty
fantastic.
Well. So,
all right, we will talk more about that next week on Inside ChampCar. Ton of that, and we'll have a cool guest next week. I don't know who it's going to be yet, but I'm sure Bill will come up with somebody fantastic. We'll do that next week on Inside ChampCar. This is going to do it for another episode. If you like what you heard, subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any episodes. Also, it would be great if you share it on your social media channels. You can comment on the ChampCar Facebook page, especially if it's a good one. If it's a bad one, it's Bill Strong's page. We have new episodes every week. He is Bill Strong. I am Brian Bielanski, and you are listening to the Racing Wire Podcast Network.